How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Metal Motors 92i8 channel, but please call me Metal. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. What we are looking at in today's video is a really interesting case. The city of Gastonia, North Carolina has sued a ministry known as Faith, Hope, and Love for providing housing, food, and water and clothing for the homeless, apparently illegally, which anyone with common sense would think that sounds stupid, like me. So I discovered this whole case from an Instagram reel from 2020 Libertarian Vice Presidential candidate Spike Cohen when I was scrolling on social media. So then I decided to look into what was going on. So I looked at news articles about it and watched news reports on it, which I'll show alongside the short I talked about, which is actually a clip of a much longer video of Spike and church members against this whole thing in court. When I first saw the short, I'm not gonna lie, I was infuriated when I heard from Spike in the short about what was going on. So that's why I took it upon myself to look at the whole case. Excuse me for that little stutter right there. Anyway, as for Spike, being fully honest with you guys, I agree with most of what he has to say most of the time. However, I don't necessarily agree with everything he says or does, which is fair. I think that's good when you don't agree with everything someone says or does. Now, honestly, guys, I haven't had good faith in the government even as far back as a child, and my lack of trust in it has only grown as I gotten older and realized a lot of realities about life and living it. So, let's get into it.
My name is Spike Cohen, and I don't recall the First Amendment having a 2-minute limit.
So, for those who don't know, Spike is referring to the amount of time he and the others are given to speak out on this issue. Now, I didn't see the entire court case because I couldn't find any videos on the whole case where we also see the courtroom speak on this issue, as well as like the city council members and all that.
But anyway, I'm going to cut to the chase. I was at Faith, Hope, and Love on Saturday, and I watched them do what they do every single day, feeding people in need, keeping to, as your coding people called it, keeping the matters of the faith, the main commission that Christians have, which is to feed those in need and to help those in need. And for a moment, I had the same question that a lot of folks here probably have. Why are you punishing a man and his congregation for solving the homelessness crisis and helping those in need?
All right, for a little more context on why they were fined, according to a news report I found from WTV, a local news station for North Carolina, they violated certain city codes. Here's what they were.
The church is now facing a lawsuit and nearly $60,000 in fines after the city of Gastonia says their operation has violated several rules. In the suit, the city alleges the trailers on the church's property are not permitted to be there or be used to live in. Other violations outside of the suit detail unclean trash and debris on the property. But the church says they applied for permits for the trailers and never heard back.
So they are being sued for violating certain city codes. All right, I'm just going to ask the question. If these codes are stopping people from getting the help they need or providing that said help, then isn't there a problem with the codes and not the ministry? Because I'll be honest, I think exactly that. I think that if the codes or laws are stopping people from getting or giving vital help, then there is a problem with the codes or laws. Actually, the system, if we're being honest here. I mean, I know you've probably heard like, oh, the system this, the system that, but honestly, it's true. I don't know how else to put it. It's like, just the way our system is set up. Yeah.
But here's the thing, folks. I figured it out. You need a homelessness crisis. You want a homelessness crisis. You want these folks out on the streets and in the woods. You want them doing whatever they need to get by, and you want the public to become angry and fearful and resentful so you can sell them the solution.
I mean, that's just it. I feel like that's what makes sense at this point. I mean, I live in a city where homelessness is so bad, and I've wondered why it's never been truly solved. And you know what? That very well may be true where I live as well. I mean, if they are doing things like this and then giving them solutions that don't really help them, at least not long term, then they obviously have some kind of ill intentions. I mean, I don't know what else to say or think. If you think that ruining someone else solving a crisis like homelessness and then giving them quote unquote the solution has some kind of excuse me, malicious intent behind it, makes me a conspiracy theorist or whatever you guys like to call me here, then it's obvious you have no thoughts for yourself and believe that the government is right no matter what, which you are dead wrong on, by the way. And if you still believe that after this situation, then wow, I have no idea what mental gymnastics you had to perform because they seem really risky.
And if instead you let this man of God and his congregation fix the problem themselves, they're going to start wondering what they need you for.
I mean, that's just it. Why let someone else solve a crisis we tell the public they need us for? That's just it. We don't. Because as Spike pointed out, they start questioning the need for us, and we don't want that. Dude, this is honestly infuriating and depressing at the same time. Like, how do you do that? It seems so easy, and yet I don't know how that comes to be.
Now, at the base of what you're doing is a complete lack of respect for them as human beings, their lives, their livelihoods, their well being, their safety, all of it. You do not respect them as people, you see them as objects. They are an opportunity for you to grandstand on your suffering, and the congregation is an obstacle to that opportunity. They are not things, they are people. You have two choices, and this should not be a difficult choice. One, you can just let this church help those in need and get out of the way, or two, you can create the suffering you're creating, and I will personally make sure that everyone in this city, this county, this state, and this country knows who you are, what you've done, and the suffering you're causing. Your choice.
And that right there is why I made this video. To get out what our government does and explain why I don't agree with it and why you shouldn't either. And to put why I think this is very immoral and just absolutely disgusting and sick thing to do, let me show a clip of another speaker in the courtroom Spike was in.
What happens when they shut this down and these 75 to 125 people have to go? Because they're coming to your backyard. They're coming to the woods behind your house, and they're not going to have running water, and they're not going to have somebody feeding them daily. So you're going to have a big problem on your hands because they won't be in one spot. They'll be scattered out all over the county, and they'll be doing all sorts of things to get by because they have no other option, and that's what you're going to end up pushing them to do. This is a good ministry. I found my faith at Faith, Hope, and Love. I've always loved God, but I found my faith there. This is nothing but God's love that man right there that just spoke puts out. He's the guy dealing with the problem. So when you shut him down, I promise you this, you're going to have a lot on your hands that you just did not want.
Exactly. Not only are they taking away a bunch of people's means to live, they are also creating another problem that will affect the entire city. That being a bunch of homeless people camping all over town because they have nowhere to go. So everybody's getting screwed over at this point. From the homeless people who depend on this ministry for support to the citizens who live here because they have to deal with the homeless issue around them. Honestly, I don't see anyone being helped here, not even the local government themselves, because now they have another issue on their hands that will cost them money to solve. Not to mention that basically puts a nail on the coffin of their reputation as well. So yeah, this case absolutely pisses me off. I'm honestly expecting a lot of SJWs and bootlickers coming at me, but honestly, you guys are the absolute last person anybody should be worried about because of just how unreliable of a source you guys are. That's it for this video. Please give a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Also, if you search up Metal Motors 92i8 on Instagram, you'll find my Instagram page, and that's where you can submit stories for me to tell on the channel. And before you ask me if I want a story, yes I do. I want a story. Now unfortunately I don't have any links in the description due to not having enough subscribers for that. So that's why I told you to search up my name on Instagram. Also, I have a Patreon, also Metal Motors 92i8, and if you want to support me further as a creator, that would be awesome too. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and peace out.